Yo, what's up? It's NLW with another episode of the NLW podcast. Got a lot to talk about today, including some big news heading into Metal Wrestling's premiere, and also some exclusive news about the schedule on the channel moving forward into 2022 as we continue on this road. And also I'll be talking about the road to WrestleMania in my Fed and also in real life in WWE, and talking about my matches and wrestlers of the week. But obviously, before I get too far into the podcast, make sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff, and comment down below any questions you may have for me. It may even feature on next week's episode of Question of the Week for this podcast. So this is going to be not really a quick one, but just one that I'm like, I don't know, I knew this would happen a couple of weeks into me doing this podcast would be Burnout. Like, I don't know, I feel I do enjoy doing this, and I have enjoyed it for the past couple of weeks, but for some reason, man, this week I've been like physically just drained. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just working too hard, or that sounds like I'm blowing smoke up my own, but just like, and no, I mean at like my other job, working a grocery store in like the evenings. So yeah, that kind of takes it out of me, drains me a little bit. So yeah, when I come and do the animation during the day, sometimes it's a struggle. Like today, I was supposed to be filming Cody and Cena. However, I've just been kind of trying to catch up on some sleep and do some like household chores and stuff. So it's like I'm just trying to put it off, because the past 2 days, to be fair, like I've had a lot of fun with Liger and Punk, and I think I also filmed Riho versus Candice yesterday. And I can't wait for you guys to see those matches. I think it'll be coming out April 9th, so in about 2 weeks. That's obviously because I didn't want to compete with, NXT and WrestleMania, which I'm sure a lot of you will probably be watching. I don't know if I'll be watching those shows, but yeah, so also gives me a little bit of time to work on the matches. But I am having a lot of fun with this new ring, and obviously I start off each podcast episode by talking about what I'm working on, so I guess we'll just continue talking about what I have been working on this week. As I said, already filmed some matches for Metal Wrestling. I've also in the process of like writing some new material for the next couple of weeks of programming. So before, I don't know, in terms of me writing the episodes, I felt that I've been kind of, I don't want to say being overly ambitious, but I suppose in some aspects I have been, because I tended to make so many matches. I wanted to do this dream match or this dream match, but realistically, how much time do I have on my hands, and how much do you guys actually want to see those matches? So I've tried to cut down a little bit of the content, just so that I can get more episodes out, because I feel like, yeah, it is cool to have a 50-minute episode every so often, but you guys, I know I don't want to like waste your time each week, because I know that's quite a hefty commitment to make, to watch like 50 minutes of someone's video on like a regular basis. So I feel like the episodes won't be too long going forward. I mean, they might be, you never know. I'm aiming between 30 to 40 minutes an episode. I don't really want to be pushing towards an hour on a regular basis, maybe for like a one-off special, but certainly like I want to get the episodes out more frequently in the future. So I'm planning on doing Metal Wrestling and NLW. That will alternate every 2 weeks. So a new episode out every 2 weeks of either NLW or Metal Wrestling, which I think is realistic at the pace I'm working at the moment. But only time will tell if that's something that I can keep up on a regular basis. But I think that it could be possible, because I'm planning on cutting down the matches to like 2 an episode, 3, something like that, rather than doing like 4 matches an episode, which is honestly draining me a little bit. In fact, I'm thinking of cutting one of the matches from Metal Wrestling just so I can maybe put it on the next week instead, just to give myself a little bit of time and focus, because I really did enjoy making CM Punk and Liger, and likewise yesterday, Riho versus Candice LeRae. I think it's one of the best women's matches I've ever made, personally, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's not too long, but it is full with an action-packed matchup, let's just say. And Cody and Cena, yeah, I'm looking forward to filming that, and like, obviously I'm going to end Metal Wrestling with a bang. So yeah, do check out that episode on April 9th to see what happens there on that episode. And likewise with like the NLW stuff, I just want to make it an entertaining product, really. So yeah, I'm enjoying the animation a lot more now, and hopefully also I can get out some NLW 24/7 stuff as well, because obviously the Points of Authority show will be out next week, but I'll talk about all the schedule and stuff when I get to it later on in this video. In terms of what else I'm working on, I'm just writing scripts for videos. I'm filming a bunch of behind the scenes stuff, like the SmackDown Fist video, which I put up on this channel, got like 2,000 views, which is insane, like for this second channel. So thanks to everyone who's watched that. I'm going to be doing one where I show off the Raw Arena, and more coming soon. And we're also like about a week away from NLW Ruthless coming out, so that'll be NLW Ruthless Raw and Ruthless SmackDown. I've already filmed the first 2 episodes, so that'll come next week on the Monday and Friday, and that's something I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing, because I had so much fun filming with that again. It made me feel like I was a kind of a kid again, you know, playing with the Jax figures and posing them about, and honestly, it got my creative juices flowing in a way that maybe it hadn't been for NLW, and I think that making that series and having fun with that may have motivated me more with the NLW stuff. So again, it's you know, I've been up to a lot of stuff, so I apologize if I seem a bit rambly in this. It's just that I don't know, like today maybe I've just burnt out a little bit because I've been so kind of hyper focused on NLW and just trying to get all these video ideas down on paper and trying to film all this stuff. It's you know, I can't really complain too much, but again, it's just one of those things. Even if you're enjoying doing something, like I can't stress enough, you need to take breaks with it, because otherwise you will kind of burn out and you might not want to do it for ages. And I'm hoping that I can kind of get over it after this podcast, maybe film a video, but I don't want to risk it, you know? So maybe I'll just film this podcast today and then see how it goes, really. But yeah, that's about really what I've been working on, like a bunch of different stuff, man. And I'm so excited for you guys to see NLW Ruthless 24/7 and, you know, the Metal Wrestling premiere on the 9th of April. Now, we'll usually move on now to figure news. And in terms of figure news, they're dropping pre-orders now, I believe, for the Ruthless Aggression series. And I was thinking about getting them, but at the same time, I was like, you know, I don't really want to be dropping like 35 quid per figure for a pre-order. Can't really afford it at the moment. So I'm reckoning that I'm going to hold off on those for a bit. But we'll see. And I did recently purchase, though. I purchased the Best Friends and Chris Statlander. So they'll be coming soon. And I want to use them in NLW in some capacity, particularly Chris Statlander, as I feel like the women's division, I want to boost that up, especially on Metal Wrestling. So we'll see what happens with there. And I've also pre-ordered the entirety of Team Taz from AEW Unrivaled Series 9, because, yeah, I saw them come out, when was it? The release date for them was late August, and I thought, that's a ridiculously long time. I'm not waiting that long, but they moved it back to early June, I believe. So, yeah, that's a little bit more realistic. That's, 2 months away now? So, yeah, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Brian Cage I pre-ordered. There was Eddie Kingston and Thunder Rosa, but they were both for July. And for Christian, I didn't really want the old man figure just yet. I'll wait for that to go down in price, but yeah, that's again, like I said, like I'm really trying to cut back on figure spending and stuff. But yeah, I've recently also rejigged my display and things, so I've put up a bunch of new figures on display. And you know what, the room, it's really looking cool at the moment, in my opinion. Like I'm happy with how it's looking. I would like to do a room tour at some point soon. I just need to fix a couple of bits and pieces, and then it'll be ready to kind of show off. And yeah, like I've got my Super 7 figures now out of the packaging. On display, along with like a Seth Rollins row and an AJ Styles row and everything, and all my Jeff Hardys. In fact, I got some new Jeff Hardys recently from Figs 31, a bunch of custom ones. There's a Willow, I'm just looking up here now, there's a Rainbow one, some really cool ones, and now I've got like a full shelf of just Jeff Hardy figures, so that's really cool. And then obviously you may have seen on my Instagram, the AEW stage. Excuse me, I've bought, I was getting emotional about it, oh look at that, but yeah, I'm happy with how it's looking. My AEW stage is now on a shelf above my set, and it was like the largest set I could find. Lord knows if my wall can actually handle it, but the shelf is fine. It's got like brackets in it, so I think it'll be okay. And I've just put my Jurassic Express packaging on the side there. So yeah, that's a bunch of stuff I want to show you in the near future. Now we've talked enough about wrestling figures. Let's get out into the meat and potatoes of the wrestling world as a whole. We've seen the build to WrestleMania. Many have considered it a bit lackluster recently. I can see why. I was looking through the WrestleMania card and I was like, you know what? I'm kind of hyped. I might actually check out this WrestleMania. And looking over the matches, there's only like 3 that stood out to me. One is, obviously Lesnar versus Reigns. I'm personally really excited to see that. If in hindsight, if it's a good match. Edge and AJ Styles as well, I'm really looking forward to. And another one that I'm weirdly looking forward to is Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Anything goes. I just want to see what they do with that situation, whether Knoxville pulls out some of those, standard jackass stunts in that match. That'll be really interesting to see. Other than that, there's nothing on that card that I'm interested in, honestly. They put Finn Balor and Ricochet on the SmackDown beforehand rather than on the WrestleMania card, which just baffles me. I'm not going to watch. I would have considered watching Mania if they were on it, but no way now. And all these thrown together women's tag teams as well at Mania, it just seems a bit forced. And the stuff with Logan Paul, the stuff with Austin Theory and all that, not really my cup of tea, to be honest with you. Like the Ronda stuff as well, not really my cup of tea. Becky and Bianca though, that's actually another match that I probably am looking forward to if they're given enough time to kind of tell their story. But yeah, not really. I know I see a lot of people hyped for WrestleMania week, but I'm not feeling it this year. This will probably be the first WrestleMania, probably since since 29, which I haven't seen, which I haven't watched at the time. So that's like nearly 10 years now that I've gone watching WrestleManias every year, even the pandemic ones. I tuned in for WrestleMania 36. I watched it all, but yeah, this year I'm just not watching it. I'm tapping out. If there's any good matches, I'm sure I'll catch them up later down the line. But we'll move on to more kind of positive wrestling news. I may even catch Ring of Honor this weekend because I'm interested to see how the rebrand goes. I want to see FTR versus Briscoes as well as Bandido and Jonathan Gresham. As much as I love Bandido, I kind of feel that Jonathan Gresham is going to win that unification match. So yeah, there's some interesting stuff on that Ring of Honor show. But I would like to say about Ring of Honor, it's a shame that they're not bringing back a lot of the Ring of Honor guys who were under contract and making it solely an AEW project, because I don't know if I'd be that interested in seeing an AEW 2.0 in Ring of Honor, to be honest. I feel like there should be a mix there, really, and I don't want to just see it taken over by AEW's, not rejects, but, people they're not using at the moment. So, I don't know, there's a happy medium to be found there, I'm sure, where they can get some people from the original Ring of Honor roster in there. Perhaps your Dragon Lees and all of those partnerships from CMLL. But again, time will tell really what happens with that. It will be an interesting show. Nonetheless, that I may be watching, we'll see. It is this Friday, I believe. So yeah, again, that's a cool thing that they're doing though, with potentially the NXT type style for Ring of Honor being AEW's developmental. Speaking of AEW, Dynamite was, for the first half, absolutely fantastic, and then the last half, bafflingly annoying and horrible to watch, and I'll explain that in a minute. So, Dax Harwood and CM Punk had a match on AEW, which was fantastic. It was kind of like a tribute to Bret Hart in a way. Not what I was expecting going in. It was so solid, such a great match, and that'll be my match of the week this week, is CM Punk versus Dax Harwood, because this kind of evolution of FTR into more babyface characters, it's quite intriguing to see, and wonder what will happen now that they're kind of being pushed forward as faces on their own. We'll see, honestly. It's a shame they've kicked Tully to the curb, but it is what it is. CM Punk, though, also motioning that he might get a title shot soon, which would be very interesting to happen at Double or Nothing. CM Punk versus the Hangman. But again, I wonder where Hangman's title reign goes from here. That'll be certainly interesting. And my wrestler of the week is going to be Jeff Hardy for that insane swanton bomb off of the balcony through a table off that window ledge thing. He's 45 and he's doing these incredible crazy stunts. Likewise with Sting. There was a scary moment on Dynamite where Sting maybe overexerted himself or couldn't really find his footing. He did eventually hit the death drop, but again, I don't know, man. I love Sting and I wish he would kind of tone it back a little bit, but no one's going to tell him no, I guess. So I just hope that he's okay, really. And likewise, Jeff Hardy, because he's hitting that swanton now with his full back, like crushing his opponent. So again, I just hope that they're both safe and sound, for the love of God. But yeah, those are my wrestlers and matches of the week. In terms of other news, this is another day where I'm waiting for Cody Rhodes. And if this comes out on Tuesday and he's appeared on Raw and he's challenged Seth Rollins for WrestleMania, rejoice. If they're waiting until WrestleMania to pull the trigger, I don't know. Like, the only reason that I would watch WrestleMania would be for Cody, but even that is like a stretch at this point. Just waiting to see. Has he debuted on Raw yet, guys? Let me know in the comments when this comes out on Tuesday on YouTube, because I'm recording it Monday night, and so far, nothing. But yeah, we'll see. And also, Veer Mahan is coming to Monday Night Raw, finally, April 4th. I wonder what will happen there. Honestly, Veer is... I think Veer should have been the Miz's tag team partner at WrestleMania, honestly. Would have been more interesting to me than Logan Paul being in that position, but hey, that's just me. You want to give Veer the monster push out of the gate, and I'm sure he's going to be world champion sooner or later. You just know it. But yeah, in all seriousness, like, not really looking forward to WrestleMania, and but we'll see what happens, really. And also, AEW Rampage has fallen off big time. Like, that's a show that on this channel, I made a video about how Rampage was my favourite wrestling show of 2021, and I stand by that, it was. But this year, oh my god, it's fallen off. Like, they're not even trying anymore, man, like, to put on compelling matches on that show. You know what the results are going to be when the card's released. Like, it's just a glorified jobber show. Well, not jobber, I don't want to say jobber, but there's no effort put into it, man. Like, well, there is, because sometimes the matches are cool, but again, like, there's no storyline significance there, because you can skip an episode of Rampage and, like, literally they won't mention it barely. They'll mention it barely on Dynamite, so there's no reason to tune in at the moment, and it's a real shame, because they're showing Keith Lee on a lot on it, and I love Keith Lee, and likewise with Swerve, Ricky Starks, all those guys. I just wish that they would make matches that are worth watching and not just think, oh, well, no one's watching this show, better not put out a quality product. And I just don't like that that's what's hampered it. Pac and Andrade, their entire feud was, like, basically on Rampage, and that was incredible series of matches, and, a bunch of cool women's stuff as well on there in the early days of Rampage. So, yeah, I hope that they kind of turn it around, but again, I'm not holding my breath, really, for that one. To be honest, yeah, well, it just makes me sad, honestly. But yeah, well, that's quite a negative way to kind of close out the podcast. I know it's kind of a bit of a shorter one, but we'll get to the NLW updates, Patreon shouts out, and question of the week. First of all, NLW updates for this week. What's coming out this week? Well, NLW 24/7 is coming out Wednesday. That will feature the final build to NLW 24/7 Points of Authority, which is coming on April 6th. So this Wednesday, you'll see the kind of aftermath of Brock versus the World. What has the champion got to say? What will happen with Darby and Andre? What's going to happen with Cody and Triple H? A lot of cool stuff going on NLW 24/7, and another crazy stunt that will be, I'll tell you what, I'm doing the red arrow, I'm doing the red circle, so you guys watch it. It's a pretty crazy thing that Darby Allin does, and you will not want to miss it when it comes out on Wednesday. On Thursday, Friday, I think I'm releasing a couple of previews of some stages, and I may even do like a figure review video. We'll see what happens with NLW Figs. Nothing's really concrete at the moment, but we'll see. I was going to release something on Saturday, but I figured, no one's going to be watching, because let's face it, everyone's got their focus on WrestleMania. So I'm thinking that Saturday and Sunday will be free scheduled, so nothing's going to happen over this weekend. I'm taking a break, just uploading those 2 days. And on Monday next week, April 4th, that's the debut of Raw Ruthless, and then on Friday, April 8th, is SmackDown Ruthless's debut. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. And then obviously Metal Wrestling will premiere on April 9th. So yeah, check out all those videos on the channel. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications to watch those videos. Before we get into the question of the week, I'm going to do my quick Patreon shouts out. We've got some new patrons this week, so thank you to everyone who has subscribed on the Patreon. That's Clarence Morris III, John, Cringe God, Remy Montoya, Anthony Hill, Brady Babcock, Brandon Furman, Casey Hellschool, Cupid, Devin Downlin, Flynn Lampkin, Cameron Joyner, PTW Animations, Ryan McCarthy, Murphy, Theodore Roberts, ES Productions, Outros World, and Kids Zap. Thank you all for being on the Patreon. If you want to be a Patreon and get access to another actual 24/7 show called Backlash, and that features a massive 4-way tag team main event, and that whole show is now available in full early for you guys. If you subscribe to my Patreon for just $1, you can watch that show and get early access to this podcast, as well as a bunch of other exclusive stuff. So the link to that will be in the description. Now we'll go on to our question of the week, and it is going to be if we can find a question on here. Like I don't want to say I'm running out of them, but yeah, leave them in the comments below. So let's have a look. So I'll go for one from Davian Pickfed Lonely, aka Cringe God, who sent a bunch of questions in. I'm just looking through them now, and they said, "What are your thoughts on Deathmatch Wrestling?" So my thoughts on Deathmatch Wrestling, I think, like Jim Cornette said, there's a bunch of different flavors out there of wrestling. Some like chocolate, some like vanilla, and I feel like Deathmatch Wrestling, I guess you could call it strawberry jam because of the blood. Oh, I don't know. But I like Deathmatch Wrestling personally. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch like a full card of Deathmatch Wrestling though. But I think, we've seen it in small doses on AEW Dynamite where they've got, Nick Gage and Chris Jericho, for instance. That was great. On a regular basis, I'm not too sure that that's the kind of thing that would interest me. But I look at it as what it is. It's Deathmatch Wrestling. It's not going to be, technique. It's not going to be, a 5-star classic. It's going to be big guys beating each other up with weapons. And that's, I enjoy that. I don't think that it shouldn't happen, honestly. Because I see a lot of people saying, oh, Deathmatch Wrestling's bad. It shouldn't happen. And it's the same with like high spot wrestling and stuff like that. And then, boring, like strong style, drawn out stuff and, matches that are too short. I think there's so much wrestling out there. You can pick and choose what you want to watch. I think every form of wrestling is valid, even comedy wrestling. So Deathmatch Wrestling, yeah, gets a thumbs up from me. I enjoy the occasional GCW show. I loved rewatching through the old ECW shows as well. So yeah, I think Deathmatch Wrestling definitely has a place. In the mainstream, who knows? You don't want to oversaturate it on like, for AEW, for instance, if they're pulling out a thumbtack spot every week, it's a kind of case of diminishing returns. But, every so often on the main stage, Deathmatch Wrestling gets a thumbs up from me. I'm someone who grew up during the Ruthless Aggression era where there was blood everywhere and is completely violent. So that's, I can kind of get on board with all that gore and all that stuff. So yeah, fan of Deathmatch Wrestling. Not my favourite style of wrestling though, of course, but still something that I think is valid in its own right. So yeah, good question. Thank you for that. If you've got any more questions, guys, let me know in the comments below. And also, just remember that NLW and Metal have some really big videos coming out very, very soon, so you don't want to miss those. I apologise for the kind of rambly nature of this podcast, as I said. Got a lot of household chores to get done, got Cody and Cena to do, and trying to finishing touches on the Metal Wrestling premiere. So, thank you all for watching or listening to this NLW podcast. I'll be back with you next week. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you guys later.